For me, it's partly, to answer that question, I also have to partly reflect on spending most of my life here. I've been here since I was in grade 1, so I guess I have these very mixed and torn feelings. On the one hand, I love, obviously I love the province, I love living here, it's a beautiful, wonderful place, but on the other hand, so much of our economy is based on this problematic use of resources. At the same time, my brother's in the oil industry, my father was in the oil industry, so I understand that this is a good thing in a way. It feeds our economy. So it's very complex, right? So as an artist, what I try to do is reflect that complexity. I make works that don't say point fingers or give simplistic answers, but just invite people to think about complexity and to think about ways we could talk through this together. Because I think, especially around issues like the environment, things can get so polarized, and meaningful discussion sometimes in the middle doesn't happen, and then maybe in some ways nothing happens and things get stalled. So I guess that's, I hope, one thing that I can contribute as an artist, a more kind of full conversation. I think that it's an interesting question too, and a tough one. I think that maybe there's a balance there again, where the artist, of course, has to think about the world they live in, and in some ways they can't help it, right? We're born when we're born, and the work we make reflects what we do. So, and it's an interesting question because I talk to my students a lot about this, right? How much do you kind of look inward and ignore things, and how much do you look to the world outside? And for me, it depends so much on the artist and so much on their work and what they're pursuing in terms of their ideas. So I always feel like maybe it's a balancing act. You have to actually ask, what are the questions that are important to you as an artist, right? But also, how do those questions relate to bigger social, political questions out there? And they always do, right? It's just a matter of negotiating what that relationship is. Having said that, I do think it's complex. I think there's times when you're an artist and you have to say, you know what, I just need to kind of hunker down, just be in the studio for a while and not cloud my mind with too much else, right? I just got to get through some work. And then maybe there's a point when you step back and say, okay, now I finished some work. How does this link to other ideas? But of course, artists work differently. Some artists start with a social political idea first and then work towards it. Other artists don't.